So now here that we can output the arrays elements on the elements of HTML, I'm going to modify my array here, and I use some methods in order to remove some of the items and also be able to add some of the items added to the last part of the array or to the first part of the array. So let us try all of these methods and see how they will affect on the arrays. So the first one that I'm going to talk about is pop method. So console.log, and here my array .pop, and then we have parentheses as well. So here, if I implement this one on my array, we will be able to see that if I save the code, we will be able to see that once we refresh the code, we won't see Alice anymore. So that's how we can remove an item or an element from the ending of an array. So there's also another thing that we can do here, and we can push an item to the elements. So console.log, and then I can write my array, and I can write .push, and then inside of the parentheses I can add an element. So here I can, for example, write Mary. So we didn't have Mary inside of the array that we had before. So something looks wrong. Okay, here, Mary. So let's save the code, and we'll be able to see that once we refresh the Google Chrome browser, we'll be able to see that instead of Alice, we have Mary. So we first popped the last item, and then we added another item to the array, which is Mary. So instead of Alice, here we have Mary. And so here, if I use the pop and push methods, also if you want to add, if you want to remove an item from the beginning of the array, you can use shift. So if here I use, and by the way, we are logging that to the console. So let us also check for the pop and the push. So these are the two final loggings. So for the pop, we will be able to see something as output. Let's see if there's any output. So the console shows us Alice. So Alice has been removed. So the method or a function pop has shown us the element that has been removed, and the function or method push is showing us the length of the new array. So both of these two methods have the output. So if that's a function can have an output. So we're saying something as a result of implementing that function. So not only does it change my array, it will also return something, which is the length of the array. And this one returns the item, the element that has been removed from the array. So I can also use console.log and then my array dot shift, and then inside of it I can write nothing. So it's going to remove the first item of the element. So let's see what happens here by saving the code for our list here. So for our list of arrays, so the list of the elements: James, Cillian, Brad, Michael, and Mary. So as a result of shift, James must be removed from this array. So let us refresh, and as you can see, James has been removed, and here it's printed out James as a result of shift. And again, we are seeing the item that is being removed. So the first one was Alice, and it was the result of returning from the pop function, and here is the result of returning from the shift function. We also have the unshift, so if we want to add an element to the beginning of the array, we can use unshift. Console.log myArray dot, and here I'm going to use unshift. So this is a built-in function for the arrays, and here I will write the element that I want to add. So instead of James, I can use Andy. So let me save this and save this and refresh the arrays.html. As you can see, Andy has been added to the beginning of the list, not to the ending. And again, after adding an item, we're seeing the length of the array is being refreshed, and then we're seeing the length of the array that has been increased. So these are some of the main functions for adding the items or removing the items from either the beginning or the ending of the array. And these are some of the main ones for using, although there are so many different ways you can modify an array. So we will get to that later. Let's do it right now instead of later, so later might be too late, so let's do it now. So let's console.log. Now let's not console.log, so instead of that I can write myArray. So here imagine that we want to do something like the unshift. So I can write myArray 0, so we want to add something to the beginning of the array, just the same as unshift. But here I want to do it this way. So myArray and the first one of the array should be, so let me say another names, like, okay, Brad was another name. Save this, and let's see if you will be able to see Brad as the beginning item of the list. So Brad has been, actually I think it was, which one was it that we added to the beginning? So it was Andy, and Andy has been replaced by Brad, and Brad has been here instead of Andy. So it doesn't work like unshift. It will only replace one of the objects inside of the array. So keep that in mind, that this is not going to work the way shift works. If I do this for the first one of the list, myArray, and do it for the second position or position number 1, the second item, it will replace the second one of this list here, Cillian. So we're not going to remove this and replace it by another name. So let's forget this. And so we've tried this. We've tried adding an element to the first one without removing Andy, but unfortunately this one didn't work just the same as unshift. So this way will only work for replacement, not for doing the same as unshift. So unshift is a unique function for that. So now the question is, what if I want to add Brad and I want to put it somewhere in between? Or okay, so we've done this with Brad, so let us imagine that we want to put, for example, Sarah somewhere between Brad and Michael. Okay, so how are we supposed to do that? So first of all, we have 0, 1, 2, and 3. So the position is 3, or the fourth item. We don't want to remove Michael, and neither Mary, neither Brad, neither Cillian, neither any one of these. So, and by the way, we have 2 Brads here. So we can have repeated elements. So let me just comment this one for Brad, or I can just simply, yes, I can keep this by commenting this one out. And to do that, if you want to add something here, I can use splice method, and splice will do that for us. So by using splice, you determine how many objects you want to add, and what are the names of the object that you want to add, where you're going to put it, and how many items you're going to remove. So if you want to remove no object from the no element from the array, then you write 0. So I can write my array dot splice is written this way, and then I can write the first attribute of this function is the position. So where is it going to start from? So I just wanted to start from the position number 3, or the fourth one, and then I want to remove nothing. So the number that we're going to remove is all we're going to remove nothing. So, and then I'm going to also add the items that I want to add to this array. So for example, I want to add Sarah. I can also add any other number of variables or names here. So I can add something else, like instead of Sarah, I can add some other name. So for example, Kathleen, or it's written Katrina. Save this. So these two names are going to be added to the my array to there, and to the without and replacing with other names. So let's save this and refresh here. As you can see, we have Andy, Cillian, Brad, Sarah, Katrina, Michael, and Mary. So Sarah and Katrina are added somewhere between Brad and Michael. So these two names are added to the place where we want it. So it would start from the position number 3, and so the number we wrote there was related to the first item, and the second item would come just right after the third item, the actually fourth item, which is the fifth item. Okay, so the position number 4, and Michael, which was in the position number 3, is now changed position to number 5. So here we have the longer number of people, just the position we wanted. So splice here comes to our help, and it also does work just the same as onshift if here we write 0 instead of 3. So here, if I change this to 0 and save the code, we will be able to see that Sarah and Katrina will come before Andy. So let us refresh. As you can see, Sarah, Katrina, Andy, and other names come before that. So let me change this to where it was, number 3. There we go.